everybody. Thank you for coming out in the pouring rain, and me too. We all came out in the pouring rain. So I'm really happy to be here tonight, and just a little. I'll give you a little information about me in case you didn't know. So I was born in Chicago in during the biggest blizzard of 1946. And my mother was really pissed off because I was supposed to be born New Year's Eve, but instead I was born December 30th, so she didn't get the free freezer that, because freezers were a new invention then because everybody had ice chests, and she was really looking forward to that freezer. And for my whole life, when she was in a bad mood, she would say to me, "You couldn't wait. You couldn't wait just one day." So anyway, my path took me very many different ways, and one of them was to sing and tour the world. And when I had a little success, I bought her a freezer and had it filled with Omaha steaks. So I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I thought, very important fact. Always, when in some ways, when you don't mean it, but you've done something to hurt your mom, always, make sure you make up for it. So doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy her a freezer full of Omaha steaks, but try to make your mom happy. And I say that to my own children too. But anyway, I'm just, just talking a little because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing, so I'm killing time. So I have a new book out called Year of the Monkey, and thank you. And I've been touring it, and tonight is the last stop on the monkey tour. So what a great place to be monkeying around at the end. So I'm really glad to be here. So I just figure, I'll read some from the book, and we'll talk and answer questions and, do stuff, picnic, anyway. So I really wrote this book accidentally, and how it came about is I do write almost every day, but on New Year's Day 2016, I had just played the Fillmore West with my band, and one of my closest friends was going to come. It was Sandy Pearlman, and Sandy Pearlman was the producer and one of the main writers for Blue Oyster Cult. And in fact, he wrote such great songs as Astronomy, a Star. And he also produced The Clash, and he was my friend. So he had a stroke right before my job at the Fillmore, and he was unconscious. And he and I were going to go travel around the West Coast. We were going to eat tacos and, I don't know, watch Shakespeare productions and see what kind of trouble we could get into. And so he was in the hospital. And so I decided to start the new year on my own, just roaming around. And I don't drive, so it was kind of a strange little journey I had. And I wound up on my own by myself, and I wrote the book mostly to keep myself company. And it did a good job, because when the book was done, I was really missed it. It became my little pal. So I hope you like it. So I'm going to read a little bit from the beginning. So is the sound okay and everything? It sounds all right? Everything's okay? Okay. It was well past midnight when we pilled up in front of the Dream Motel. Did you notice I said pilled up? What does that tell you? I don't know. I paid the driver, made sure I left nothing behind, and rang the bell to wake up the proprietor. "It's almost 3 a.m., she said, but she gave me my key and a bottle of mineral water. My room was on the lowest floor, facing the long pier. I opened the sliding glass door and could hear the sound of the waves accompanied by the faint barking of sea lions sprawled out on the planks beneath the wharf. 'Happy New Year,' I called out. 'Happy New Year' to the waxing moon, the telepathic sea." The drive from San Francisco was just over an hour. I had been wide awake, but suddenly I felt beat. I took off my coat and left the sliding door slightly open to listen to the waves, but immediately fell into a facsimile of sleep. I awoke abruptly, went to the John, brushed my teeth, removed my boots, and went to bed. Maybe I dreamed. That evening, I sat back on the patio, and I wrapped a blanket around me like a convalescent in the Magic Mountain, then felt the genesis of a strange headache, most likely a sudden change in the barometer. I headed to the front desk in pursuit of an aspirin, but when I noticed that my room was not on the ground floor, but on a subfloor beneath, making it closer to the edge where the beach began, I had forgotten this and became confused while walking the length of the dimly lit hall. Unable to locate the stairway leading to the reception desk, I gave up on the aspirin and decided to go back. Now, I just have to stop for a minute. My editor at my publisher thought this was ridiculous. She said, "Why would you decide to go back?" And I said, "Well, often when I'm in these meandering, strange hotels, I have really bad sense of direction. I once got lost in the bowels of a hotel in Munich for 45 minutes. I couldn't find the exit, and I was nearly in tears." That's a true story. It's why I don't drive, because I can't tell my right from my left, and I'd be dangerous on the road, so. Anyway, that was exciting to hear about, wasn't it? Going for my key, I found a tight roll of gauze about as thick as a gaulois. I unwound a third of it, half expecting to find a message, but there was nothing. I had no idea how it came to be in my pocket, but I rewound it, slipped it back, and re-entered my room. I turned on the radio, and Nina Simone was singing, "I Put a Spell on You." The seals were silent, and I could hear the waves in the distance. Winter on the West Coast. I sank into bed and slept heavily. In the Dream Motel, I was certain I did not dream. Yet the more I thought about it, I realized I did dream. More precisely, I skated along the fringe of dream. Dusk masqueraded as night, unmasking at dawn and illuming a path I willingly followed from the desert to the sea. Gulls were wailing and calling as the seals slept, save their king, more like a walrus, who lifted his head and bellowed at the sun. There was a sense of everyone gone, a J.G. Ballard kind of gone. So, thanks. Isn't it funny after somebody reads? This is, I always feel, I can feel people thinking, am I supposed to clap at this? You know, it was okay, it was good, but it wasn't that great. You know, it was a clap. You don't have to. But anyway, it's just to give you a sense of the book. The book is really a mix of actual fact, total fiction, and dream. And the idea when I started writing it was to weave these things so seamlessly that it wouldn't really matter what was true or untrue. And, and that you would find affection for people, whether they were real or not real, or, and some people understand that, but others got pissed off about it. Anyway, so I decided I was in Santa Cruz, and then I decided to go to San Diego because I like beach towns, and I did my thing at Santa Cruz, and I wanted to go to San Diego, but I don't want to go by plane. So I found this couple that said I could go with them, and it was $85 because it was 8.5 hours, and there was one rule, and that was no talking. Do you think that I can go without talking? In the morning, I met the couple down the road. They were nothing if not unfriendly. I had to pour my coffee out by the curb so as not to spill any, then pay in advance before they would let me in the car, which was pretty beat up. The floor was littered with cans of mosquito repellent and moldering Tupperware, and the leather seats seemed to have been ripped open with a serrated knife. Various crime scenes passed through my mind. But their choice of music was great. Tunes I hadn't heard for decades. After the sixth side, Charlie Grace's Butterfly, I couldn't help myself. What a great playlist, I blurted. To my surprise, they suddenly pulled off to the side of the road. The guy got out and opened my door, giving me the nod. We said no talking. It's the cardinal rule. Please, just give me one more chance, I said. Begrudgingly, the guy started up the car, and off we went. I wanted to ask if singing along was allowed, or gasping when a really great song came on, although so far they were all great, from the extremely danceable to the mystically obscure. Oh, Donna, Summertime, Greetings, This is Uncle Sam, My Hero, Endless Sleep. I wondered if they were from Philly, the oldies city. It was that kind of music. I sat in dutiful silence, singing in my head, carried back to teenage dances and a boy named Butchie Magic. That was really his name. He sort of looked like Russell Crowe, the young Russell Crowe, like in LA Confidential, that Russell Crowe. He was a blonde Italian from South Philadelphia who seldom spoke but carried a switchblade, cruising across the landscape of my homework into dreams to dwell in a silent chamber of a young, unrequited heart. So Butchie Magic was totally real, but I never got him, but I got him in here. I wonder someday if he'll be, that was his real name, if he'll I don't know, I don't think he'd read this book. But, sorry. When we stopped for gas, I took my sack and went to the bathroom, washed my face, brushed my teeth, got a coffee to go, and returned in perfect silence, just in time to see them speed off, straight into the horizon of forgotten rhythm and blues songs. What the hell? Okay, then. My Hero, I yelled. That was great. Who plays Endless Sleep or Greetings, This is Uncle Sam? I stood there calling out an inventory of all the great songs I had savored in silence. A security guard approached me. Is everything all right, miss? So, what should I do? Well, how are you all doing? Anybody have any questions? Any question? Okay, there's somebody there. Yep.
Keep it close to your mouth.
In the form of a question.
It's kind. Oh, I should have seen. All right. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So I have this YouTube channel, right?
You what?
I have a. It is. So I have. So oh, that's really loud.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
I'm a professional, so I figured it out. No, you know what? You just put it not too close
Like
to your
there?
mouth.
Right there?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I have this YouTube channel, right?
A YouTube channel of your own.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have this song I made on it, right?
Uh-huh.
So I barely have anyone who knows who it is.
Yeah.
And like you're pretty famous, right?
In certain towns.
So do you know if you could subscribe to it or anyone in this building?
So are you asking me to subscribe to a YouTube
Yeah,
channel?
and can you watch the
Truthfully,
video?
tell you the truth, I never subscribe or buy or do anything
no,
online
it's-
because
it's
you know
not
why?
buying.
Because I can never figure out the password thing.
Password?
I don't have
that's a
PayPal, and so anyway, if you have a YouTube channel and you want people to subscribe, what you should do is have little sheets of paper in places. This is what I would have done, and had, you know, like a little poem on it or something, or some statement, and then you write it down, and then you hand it out to people, and then they look at it, and before you know, 2 people showed up. No, just, but that's actually, that's fine, because really, that's, I mean, when I was writing poems when I was younger, I didn't have a book and nobody really cared, so I would just print them out and try to sell them for 10 cents or 50 cents or, you know, and that's what you got to do. So good for you. Enterprising. He has a YouTube channel. You can see him after the show's over and find out how to find it. And good for you.
Who else? Okay. You stand up. Stand up.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so there's many things that I
No, just pick one.
adore about you. It'll be fast. I think of you as the queen of precious things.
Okay, a question. Just ask me a question.
So
I
my question
cannot
is,
imagine me queen of precious things.
you
I am like so messy, so
that-
forgetful.
So here's my question. I'm moving,
Yes.
and I have an incredible assortment of small things that mean a lot to me, and I know that you feel the same thing about what other people call knickknacks. So I'd just like your advice on what should I do with these? As I'm moving and they mean a lot to me, do I pick certain ones? Do I store them all?
Well,
Because-
you're asking the wrong
Okay.
person, because when I was a kid, I loved my toothbrush, and I used to talk to it in the morning and, you know, brush my teeth and, you know, get ready for school and talk to my toothbrush. And one day I came home from school and my mother said, Trisha, here's your new toothbrush. The other one was, you know, really, you needed to get a new toothbrush. And I was horrified, you know, and I said, well, where's my other toothbrush? And she said, oh, I just threw it away. And I was double horrified. So I had to pick my toothbrush out of the trash and hide it under the floorboards of our apartment. And then when we were evicted, I forgot to get it. So maybe now, like in, you know, mystery movies or something, someday they're gonna tear up the building, and they're gonna find this woebegone toothbrush going, where's Patti?
Patty, I'm over here.
Yes,
You want one more question?
yes, one more.
Okay.
This was a mistake, I could tell. No, just joking. Yes.
Hi. So, I have a question about your music. who were like your early influences when you were starting out as like a poet?
Well, as a writer, I had many influences from Robert Louis Stevenson. When I was a little girl, I would read his poems, and William Blake, and I loved Arthur Rimbaud, and I really loved jazz, and I loved writing poems like to Coltrane tracks and things. But I just it was so long ago. I mean, I've had so many influences, through the years, and in terms of how that seeped into my songs, I would say from poets to people like Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan, and people like that became highly influential. But my influences are always shifting, and I don't know, I have a lot of them. But I still love all the people that I loved when I was young. I still read Robert Louis Stevenson, and I still read Rimbaud, and they, whatever. I can't figure out how to finish that sentence. Sorry. So I'm not going to fake it and like wrap it up and make it seem like I knew what I was talking about.
Do you want more questions, or do you want to do something else?
Oh, one more.
Okay, I'm going to go over here. I know
It's
this
like
would be
potluck,
an extremely excellent question, won't it? Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
I'd just like to know the first record that you actually paid your own money for.
First record I ever made. What was it? Oh. It was, trying to think. Oh, I know what it was. It was Another Side of Bob Dylan. Yeah. And it was at the supermarket for 99 cents. But I didn't really have money for records, but so I didn't really buy records. I mean, we didn't, we just mostly listened to the radio. But I remember the first single my mother ever brought home was Shrimp Boats by Harry Belafonte. And it was backed by Deo, and we must have played it 1,000 times. And I remember the first single I ever owned. It was Tubby the Tuba, Part 1 and 2. So, okay. So beings we're talking about music, I'll sing a little song for you, which will set up the next thing I'm going to read. I was going to sing it after I read, but I've been talking so much, I'll sing it before I read it. So after I read it, imagine that I sung it. No. So, yeah, there's a guitar here, but I can only play about 3.5 chords or 4.5, because the F chord I'm really bad at. So, because you have to bar it. So, and this isn't my guitar, but this song I'm just going to sing to you a cappella. So, I'd like to especially dedicate it to all the volunteers this evening and everyone who contributed to the night, and everyone at FAM. So it's for everybody, but especially our volunteers. I was a wing in heaven blue, on the ocean, soared in the rain, and I was free. I needed nobody. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was a pawn, couldn't make a move, couldn't go nowhere, no future at all. Yet I was free. I needed nobody. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And if there's one thing could do for you, you'd be a wing in heaven blue. I was a vision in another eye, and I saw nothing, no future at all. Yet I was free, I needed nobody. It was beautiful, it was beautiful. And if there's one thing could do for you, you'd be a wing in heaven blue. So the book is called Year of the Monkey because the year of 2016 started in such a strange, ominous way. My dear friend Sandy Perlman was in the hospital, unconscious. My great friend Sam Shepard was negotiating negotiating all the changes in his life in the wake of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And it was just the American election was starting to gear up and seemed quite dark. And it happened to be the year of the monkey. And the year of the monkey is traditionally a very mischievous year. The monkey, the lunar sign of the monkey, very, very mischievous and a bit ominous. Sort of like, remember in The Wizard of Oz, the winged monkeys? Remember, weren't they scary? You know, the winged monkeys came down and they took the scarecrow and shook him and threw him to the ground. And I can see you're all frightened. Anyway, all the things in this book, it was written in time. A lot of times I tend to go back into the past, or I'll be writing about things that happened in my life. But this book pretty much stays in the present, which for me was quite an accomplishment, and it takes place in 2016. So, whoops. I'm also debuting my new glasses, and unfortunately, when I looked in the mirror, they're a little crooked. I don't know if it's my nose or the glasses themselves, so if you take any pictures and you do Photoshop, can you straighten them out a little? So I was in San Diego for a while, and then I decided to come back to San Francisco. Sandy was still unconscious, and he was in a hospital in Marin County, and I decided to go back and forth and sit by his bed and, I don't know, sing Arthur Lee songs and things that he liked. And so this is a little bit about that. There was nothing on the TV. I imagined I was in Kyoto, which wasn't hard as the hotel bed was close. Oh, I should tell you, I was staying in a Japanese-style hotel, so that's good information. Actually, it was a Japanese-style hotel, and it was a Japanese-style hotel in 1975 when I first stayed there. And then I read this book, and recently I went back, and they said, and it was all different, and they said, oh, it's not a Japanese-style hotel now. So I said, how could you do that? The book's coming out, and it's going to be hordes of people coming to stay here because it's a Japanese-style hotel. So if you want to go there, it's not a Japanese-style hotel anymore. In fact, I can't tell you how many things like that happened. There was a restaurant in Venice Beach that I fell in love with, that I read about, called On the Waterfront. And then I just went back there and it's gone. They have some like fancy schmancy place there. You know, the pool tables are gone. It's like only a couple of months or something, or maybe 8 months, or how can everything change so quickly? Just a small rant from an aging person. I imagined I was in Kyoto, which wasn't very hard because the hotel bed was close to the floor next to a rice paper lamp and a tableau of grayscale pebbles studiously arranged in a bamboo sandbox. There was a candy-striped pencil on the nightstand. I'm not so sleepy, I told myself. I should get up and write, but I didn't. In the end, I wrote the words that are here, even as a whole other set of words slipped away, alphabeting the ether, taunting me in my sleep. You don't follow plots, you negotiate them. Manga guidance, a repetitive mantra melding with my own thoughts. I dreamed that the clouds were pink and dropped from the sky. I dreamed I was wearing sandals, kicking through mounds of red leaves surrounding a shrine on a small hill. There was a small cemetery with rows of monkey deities, some adorned with red capes and knitted caps. Massive crows were picking through the drying leaves. It doesn't mean anything, someone was shouting, and that was all I could remember. I went to Marin County and entered the ICU. Sandy was still there, lying as he was. He had not regained consciousness. I circled his bed. A hospital chart was tacked to his foot. All right, it wasn't tacked to his foot. It was tacked to the foot of the bed. Sorry, Sandy. His middle name was Clark. It was really funny. I had known him for 45 years, and he knew I loved Superman and never told me that his middle name was Clark, as in Kent. My son was born on his birthday, another fact I had somehow forgotten. I stood there scrambling for the right thoughts, ones that could permeate the coma's thick veil. I had flashes of Arthur Lee in prison, little red books spread out like a pack of cards. I could see Sandy falling in slow motion in a parking lot near an ATM. I could hear him thinking, convalescence, Latin, 15th century. I stayed for as long as I could stand, doing my best to suppress my intense phobia of tubes, syringes, and the artificial silence of hospital settings. I shuttled back and forth from hotel to hospital. The medicinal smells and the rubber-soled entrances of the nurses with clipboards and plastic bags of fluids unnerved me as I sat beside him, desperately searching for a way in, some connective channel. On my last day, I started projecting constellations of words onto his white sheets, an endless jumble of phrases streaming from the mouths of miraculous totems lining an inaccessible horizon. Medea and monkey gods and kids and candy wrappers. What do you make of it all, Sandy? I prodded silently. Machines pulsing, saline solution dripping. Sandy squeezed my hand, but the nurse said it didn't mean anything. Could you turn the guitar down a little? Could you turn the guitar down a little in my monitor? Somebody? Sorry. I did a sound check, but suddenly it got louder. In my Blakeian year, I was so disposed toward a mission yet unclear, advancing pole by pole, punching breathed into my ear. Obey the simple code. When road was paved in gold, when road was just a road. In my Blakeian year, such a woeful schism, the pain in our existence was not as I envisioned. Boots I tramp from track to track, worn down to the soul. When road was paved in gold, when road was just a road. In my Blakeian year, temptation, yet a hiss, just a shallow spear, robed in cowardice. Brace yourself for bitter flack, for a life divine, a labyrinth of riches never shall unwind. The tears that bind the pilgrim sack are stitched into the Blakeian back. So throw off your stupid cloak, embrace all that you fear, 'cause joy will conquer all despair. In my Blakeian year, so throw off your stupid cloak, embrace all that you fear, 'cause joy will conquer all despair. In my Blakeian year, in my Blakeian year, in my Blakeian year. Thanks. Whoops. Just went apologizing to the guitar. I did the best I could. It's not my guitar, but they were nice enough to get it for me. But well, I did the best I could. But I really did really good, because the F chord that I really screw up usually, I really did it good. And you know how I did it good? I didn't play it. Oh, I thought of something. The YouTube, your YouTube channel, we didn't say what it was. What is it? I mean, that was really dumb of me. I'm sorry. What's it called?
Oh yeah, if you want to subscribe, it's Bilker. That's it's all undercase, Billker. Yeah.
Okay, I got one question. What's underface mean? Under.
Lowercase.
Oh, is that a new phrase? I mean,
No.
no, it's cool. I mean, I'm not, undercase, like lower. Okay. I can't tell you how many things I'm trying to catch up with. That's all. Okay, Bilker, thank you. And all right. So I was born in Chicago, but then we, after I was about 3 or so, we went to Philadelphia and lived there for until I was about 11. And then we went to South Jersey. What was the point of this? Wait a minute. Oh, I know what it was. So I really didn't like moving to a rural area. We moved way down South Jersey, and it was a lot of pig farms and orchards and swamp areas, but there wasn't any real cultural places. There was a pizzeria and a skating rink, a roller skating rink, and about 3 miles away there was a library, and I would have to go. I love libraries, so I would have to trek to the library. And if I went to the library in the snow or the rain, I often got bronchitis. And it wasn't bad though, because I'd like get 7 or 8 books and put them in my coat, get bronchitis, miss school, and just read. And so what was the point of telling that? Well, it does sort of have a point, because to read the section I'm going to read, I should have read how I did this lecture on the importance of libraries, but it's 2 pages long, and you can read it later. And so I'm going to cut right to the chase. So I was in Seattle, and I had just given a brilliant lecture on the importance of libraries. And then it was the next day. Early the next morning, I got up and had coffee at a place called Ruby's. I remembered eating here with Lenny Kay and Sandy a few years ago after a concert at the Moore Theater, the oldest in Seattle, notorious for its Egyptian decor. The great Nijinsky and Anna Pavlova had danced on its stage, and the likes of Sarah Bernhardt, the Marx Brothers, Ethel Barrymore, and Harry Houdini played their best hands here as well. It was once segregated, and people of color were relegated to the high balcony seats. This stain upon the theater was not without irony, as those same seats were rewarded with the best acoustics. That was the year Sandy and I drove to Ashland to see Coriolanus at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, or as Sandy put it, to witness the fall of a condition of hubris that Shakespeare had raised to the realm of the mystical. That was how Sandy talked. He'd say, "Patti, want to go see Coriolanus?" And I'd say, "Well, what's it about?" "It's about the realm of hubris, a condition of hubris raised to the level of mysticism." And I say, "Okay, let's go." I walked over to deliver a donation to the Bread of Life mission, something I always do when I'm Seattle. A homeless fella in a long gray overcoat and purple watch cap was scrawling a message on a brick wall with a thick piece of pink chalk. I slipped a 5 in his cup next to a makeshift bed of flattened cardboard, then watched his fingers as the words slowly emerged. Belinda Carlisle matters. "Why?" I asked. "Why does Belinda Carlisle matter?" He stared at me for a fairly long time that extended into an even longer time, all the way back to when cities were merely hills. He shifted his gaze from me to over his shoulder, then down to his shoes, then finally looked up and answered in a low voice, "She's got the beat." This was a true Sandy moment. Had he been here, he would have surely declared this a momentous truth. I merely smiled and shrugged. I didn't doubt him, but I didn't put too much stock in it either. Until several days later, back in New York City, unable to sleep, I was scrolling the channels and stopped at some music infomercial. I think it was one of those deals where they sell 22 CDs from the 80s, or maybe it was just girl groups, but there on the TV were the Go-Go's doing We Got the Beat on some English pop music show. All the girls were cool, but it was Belinda who had the moves. Nothing flashy, kind of beach blanket bingo with a modern swing and a bit of French paradise, leggings and little high heels. Yeah, Belinda, I said aloud, you got the beat. Her exuberance was infectious. I imagined a non-violent hubris spreading across the land, like the boys in West Side Story, buoyed by a mounting swagger singing When You're a Jet. Hundreds of thousands of girls and boys flooding the open perimeters, taking on Belinda Carlisle's moves, singing, We Got the Beat, and soldiers laying down their arms, and sailors leaving their posts, and thieves the scenes of their crimes, and all at once we're in the epicenter of one grand musical. No power, no race, no religion, no apologies. And within this vast spectacle, racing through my head, some part of me leapt up and sashayed down the road, entering the scene, joining the chorus, increasing ad infinitum, like William Blake's angels streaming from the turning pages of the book of life. Think time for a couple more questions.
All right, we got a hand up. All right, stand up. I hope it's good. Make it really good.
No pressure. Thanks, Patty. Two quick things. Your voice is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
And I ask that not just to flatter, but I'm curious what you do to take care of it. I'm also curious what you do. I was also this morning at Symphony Center and heard the interview, which was amazing. And you talked a lot about working on your writing, particularly during the time that you lived in Detroit. And I'm curious, how did you work on your writing? Have you ever formally studied writing? Do you read books about writing? I know you write about writing and you read, but okay.
Okay, all right, thank you for the questions. The first one, sort of forgot what it was. Oh, I know. How do I take care of my voice? Well, I don't do anything special. I mean, I never had singing lessons. I don't have any professional advice to give to anybody. My late husband did give me breathing lessons through teaching me to play the clarinet, because I'm a very shallow breather, so that was helpful. But I don't smoke, I don't drink. I drink coffee, but not a whole lot because it's acidic. I stay away from acidic things because it's rough on your esophagus. Basically, I just take care of myself. And, you know, you take care of your voice will take care of you. So I just think people don't realize it, especially when they're young, that if you want to sing, and it's sad because you see a lot of great rock stars or a lot of great singers, and I'm going to be 73, but I've seen people like in their 50s and their voice seems shot, and it's because things like alcohol and drugs are very bad for your voice, for your voice box, for your vocal cords. So, you know, if you want to be a singer, you have to sacrifice a certain amount of indulging and take care of it. And what's the other question? Oh, writing. Well, in 1979, I left public life, and I moved to Detroit, and I got married and had children. And in those years, about 16 years before my husband passed away, no longer in public life, I really focused on writing, which is actually the vocation that's most important to me. And once I had children, my time was limited, so I would wake up every morning around 5 in the morning, and from 5 to 8 o'clock in the morning, they were my hours. And I would spend those hours writing, studying, and a lot of it was just writing and writing and writing. I wasn't publishing. No one was looking at it, just writing and writing till I found my voice, till I could successfully articulate what I wanted to articulate. And so those years were very precious to me for many, many reasons, but in terms of my writing ability, my craft, those years of discipline, intense daily discipline, the daily practice, as Roberto Bolaño called it, was very useful and meaningful for my writing. You know, writing is, you know, I have a great, really extensive imagination, but it takes more than that. It takes, you know, discipline and understanding, you know, how to articulate exactly what you want to say. And, but I haven't had any special writing training or anything like that. So, just,
Patty, right here.
yes. A self-taught genius. That's it. No, just joking, just joking. Yes.
If you could time travel to any artistic scene for a week, where and when would you go?
Maybe I would be in the Paris Cafe when, let's see, in about 1854 or something around there, when Arthur Rimbaud came in with Season in Hell and showed it to all these poets, and they all rejected it, and he left, you know, feeling pissed off and alienated. I could run after him and say, I love it.
Patty, right here. You see me? The other way. See me? I'm waving my hand in the aisle.
It doesn't matter. Just,
There you go.
Really quick, I have 3 small kids, and the coolest thing about them is when we road trip, they see cows, they go moo, but when they see horses, all 3 of my little kids go, horses, horses, horses. Anyway.
That's awesome.
I see you a lot because I adore you, but why do you not have merchandise? It seems to be like a conscious decision. Riot Fest, you didn't have stuff. A lot of times everybody's selling tote bags and hats and t-shirts and posters, and you don't do that. And I want a t-shirt.
It's just, I don't know. It's like, you know, the venues charge a whole bunch of extra money. Actually, my drummer sells merchandise sometimes, but he makes stuff and sells it occasionally. I don't know. I feel, you know, it just makes me feel funny to be selling people stuff, you know. I do sometimes sign books and have them out there, and also a lot of people bootleg t-shirts and stuff, and I don't care. I don't know. I'm just not a merchandising kind of person, you know, but funny you should ask, because my great friend Steven Sebring and I do have a line of projected t-shirts, and it's we've been talking about it for 8 years, so maybe it'll happen. But it's nice. I mean, I don't know. What can I say? Also, when I go to concerts and there's like t-shirts, $90 t-shirts with shitty cotton, you know, it's just like. But I have a merchandise item. I wear. Don't get excited. It's not. My electric lady. Oops, has a hole in it. But never mind. Anyway, that's right.
Patty, over here on the right.
Yeah,
On
that was a meaningless 4 minutes, wasn't it?
I'm right here.
Yeah.
Okay, stand up.
Hi, Patty.
Hi.
You're my creative hero, and my question for you is, do you experience creative block, and what do you do to get through it?
I really did a lot when I was younger, and it's a time of suffering, I know. It's really, difficult. But I've learned in my life that, the muse sometimes is frivolous and it will come and go, but it always comes back. And I learned when I just couldn't write or just nothing was happening, then I read or study and replenish or go to the ocean. But, and it's sort of a waste of time to bang your head against a wall or feel like, overly emotional about it. It'll come back, but it is a good time to, to, like I said, study, read books, go to the ocean, go to one of those arcade parlors and play pinball, something like that, and it'll all come back.
Patty, over here on your
Okay,
far right.
one more.
On
Yep.
your far right. On your far, the other way. Oh.
That's why I don't drive.
Stand up.
Hey, I was told to make this good. I don't know if I can really do that. But part of where a lot of I've read your creativity comes from is from the subconscious and using your subconscious mind. So I was just wondering if I or anybody played you some guitar. Could you maybe riff something for us, or just came up with something? I would play some chords or something.
Like, you want to play chords and see if I come up with anything?
Yeah.
What do you think I've been doing all night?
I just wanted more music, I was expecting. No, I'm kidding. But I don't know. That was my question. So.
Well, normally I could do that. I mean, I actually plucked a guy out of the night, and he'll be around here later. I don't know how much time we have, but if you would, it's a good idea. But I'm not that focused right now to do that. But it's sort of what I do in life, is improvise over a couple of chords. So thank you. And if I come back, ask me sooner, and then we can try something. But since you want a song, I'll play you one, okay? So this little song I wrote with Lenny Kaye, and it's a song that we often do in remembrance of our friends who have passed away, our loved ones, and so it's I like to sing it in memory of all your loved ones who have passed away, but continue to be with you through your love and your memory. And because I'm a firm believer that all our loved ones that we have to say farewell to physically are always with us. And I know it's true because my mother still bitches at me after 20 years. She'll say, Tresha, get the cat hairs off your coat or something like that if you're going to be in public, or you didn't brush your hair or something like that. And sorry, Mom. Anyway, my mom is awesome. But so anyway, a little song of remembrance, and I'll do that, especially for those who had to come out in the rain thinking they were going to have a star-studded concert, and all they got was me. Oh, to be not anyone this maze of being skin. Oh, to cry, not any cry, so mournful that the doves just laugh, and the steadfast gasps. Oh, to oh, anything, nothing to be, not here, but here. Forsaking all equatorial bliss, who walked through the callow mist, dressed in scraps, who walked the curve of the world, whose bones scraped, whose flesh unfurled, who grieves not anyone gone to greet, flame the inspiring stars, amazed to stumble where gods get lost beneath the Southern Cross. Amazed to stumble where gods get lost beneath the Southern Cross. Crossover, crossover. Thank you. So I'd like to read just one more little piece, and this is for my friend Sam Shepard. It's called Black Butterflies. It was the last days of August with Sam in Kentucky. We had been working for most of the afternoon. I went out back around twilight for a short break and was drawn to strange movements on the stone ledge surrounding the garden. It was covered with black butterflies, scores of them, one on top of another, in a fluttering frenzy in the half-light. There was a faint whistling sound, their mortal song perhaps, dark wings, their mourning coats. A photograph I had taken of my grown children at their grandfather Dewey's funeral came to mind. My son in a black Stetson hat and my daughter in a black dress. Sam looks up and grins when I re-enter. We immediately return to work, an early revision of a recent manuscript. There were several changes and new passages which he verbalizes to avoid the struggle of writing by hand. Some time ago, he told me that one must write in absolute solitude, but necessity has shifted his process. Sam adjusts and seems invigorated by the prospect of focusing on something new. His sister Roxanne makes me tea. You're coughing, she says. Sam smiles. She's had that darn cough for 45 years. Sam sits stoically. His old Gibson rests in a corner, a guitar he can no longer play, and the reality of the present hits hard. No banging on the typewriter keys, no roping cattle, no more struggling with his cowboy boots. Still, I say nothing of these things, and neither does Sam. He fills in the silences with the written word, seeking a perfection he alone can dictate. We've become a Beckett play, Sam says good-naturedly. I imagine us rooted in our place at the kitchen table, each of us dwelling in a barrel with a tin lid. We wake up and poke out our heads and sit before our coffee and peanut butter toast, waiting until the sunrise, plotting as if we are alone, not alone together, but each alone, not disturbing the aura of the other's aloneness. Yep, a Beckett play, he repeats. As night falls, his sister prepares his needs. I settle into my makeshift bed, situated where I can see him. Are you all right, he says. Yep, I'm good, I answer. Good night, Patty Lee. Good night, Sam. I lie there and listen to the sound of his breathing. There are no curtains, and I can see the silhouettes of the trees. Moonlight illuminates the fragile webs in the corner of the room, and the edge of his bed and the low coffee table between us, laden with books, and my feet poking out from the quilt that covers me. The portrait of night I see through the window beckons. Unable to sleep, I get up and go outside to breathe the air, looking up at the stars, listening to the crickets and the bullfrogs in full throttle. I use the flashlight on my phone and return to the garden of the house. The black butterflies are still there, motionless, covering a portion of the ledge of the garden wall, but I can't really tell if they are dead or just sleeping. Yes. So earlier I did a sound check, and this guy came up, and we decided to try a song that I can't play, and his name is, I remember it, Nicholas Barron. Barron? Yeah. So I'm going to dedicate this to the principal. Whoop. Oh.
Sorry.
You give him an inch and he takes a mile. No, just joking. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. You should have seen my principal in high school. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin? 'Cause I can't. It's a little lower key than I usually do. It's my fault. I told him it this way. Falling in love with you. like a river flows gently to the sea. Darling, so it goes. Some things were meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. 'Cause you can sing along too. Come on, you can sing hell. Come on. Falling in love with you. Solo. Like a river flows gently to the sea. Darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Everybody, take my hand, take my whole life through, 'cause I can't help falling in love with you. One more time. 'Cause I'm sorry. And do it. Hell, falling in love with you. Bam! Thank you, everybody. Thank you.